government of Edo State has invested massively in infrastructural renewal since Governor Adams Oshiomhole assumed leadership of the southern Nigerian state in 2008. One key area where this is most felt is in the provision of world-class roads across the length and breadth of the state. Hundreds of thousands of kilometers of newly built and renovated roads have been provided for the people of the state, opening up either through secluded towns and villages cut off for years by their remote locations. One of them being Okpekpe, a town with a population of less than 4,000 people, located about 354 kilometers southwest of the nation's capital, Abuja.
I don't know of any state that is devoting the kind of resources we have devoted and we are still going to devote to constructing standard rural roads. Because there's something that I refuse to accept. The assumption that because people are rural by location, therefore infrastructural activity or infrastructural provision should be of rural standard. The conventional wisdom is that you build small roads which are called rural roads. So a road is either a road, whether leading to a rural area or leading to urban city, the specification should be the same.
The opening up of these towns and villages to a very large extent inspired, among other things, Nigeria's leading sports marketing outfit, Padmodzi Limited, to organize the first ever international road race in Nigeria, the Okpekpe 10-kilometer race. A race competed over hills and sandy path on a route certified by IWF route measurers and featuring hundreds of foreign and Nigerian talents.
This is what appeals to the authorities that have approved our interest to organize this race, which for us is to make several statements. First, it justified the investment. Number two, it reminds all of us that we could do with more exercise. It is good for our health, it's good for our body, and it brings people from urban areas to a rural area to realize that there is life and real people in rural areas. So, however you look at it, it's a win-win.
The Okpekpe road race basically was a collection of ideas from both technical people and myself and my other backroom staff. And we were looking at creating a new event altogether. But more importantly, we're driven by what we saw. And what we saw was that by chance, I'm from Edo State, and I visited that community. I saw the terrain, and at the same time, we're thinking of what can we begin to do new. I guess that people are tired of just seeing soccer, seeing 100 meters, 200 meters marathon. We were also looking at what we would do that would mark a new dawn in a new landmark when it comes to the nation's sporting event. And knowing fully well that we've never had a 10-kilometer race or a road race, which is almost new in Africa, we believe that, perhaps if we cannot chase the Guinness Book of Record, we can chase the Guinness Book of Africa, where we will create a race in Nigeria and Africa that will stand out as one road race, not just the first in Nigeria, but looking at Africa as a continent.
It was a concept that delighted Governor Oshiomhole, who, apart from accepting to host the race, also promised to run the entire distance, even at the advanced age of 61 years.
Now I'm 61, so people might say old man. But honestly, I am much more fit than, I would mention their name. A lot of these small boys who don't do exercise, they eat so much, rest so little because they are always going after, chasing the next dollar, the next naira, the next contract. I do a lot of workout. On my treadmill, I could do, and I've done a couple of times, as much as 12 kilometers over 120 minutes, non-stop. So I'm not likely to be the first. But I'm going to participate to make the point that even for my age group, we can afford exercise, and it's good for us.
The Okpekpe 10-kilometer road race also enjoyed support from the federal government. The Sports Minister, Malam Bolaji Abdullahi, even arrived to host local council at Sako East local government with a day to spare, underscoring the importance government at the center held for the race.
it's good that we are having opportunity to give Nigerians space to run. That is very important. But I'm even more excited by the unique nexus that has been created between sport and rural development. I mean, for me, that's a very exciting prospect, So, and that's why when I got the invitation, I was very excited and to come here to our chief for the Okpekpe race, because I believe it will open up this part of the country and open up this part of the world, and so for me, it's a great opportunity to be here and be part of the race.
Solomon Ogba is the hard-working president of the Athletics Federation of Nigeria, the technical organizers of the race. He says the transformation of Okpekpe through the road infrastructure deserves to be celebrated with a race that brings foreign visitors to that part of Nigeria.
I went to Okpekpe about 10 years ago. Then I went to Okpekpe today. It's a world of difference. And I commend the governor of Edo State for having the courage to do that kind of road in there, because I know the terrain. I know what it was 10 years ago. And what I've seen today, I told somebody with me in my car, I said, it takes a governor with a lot of courage on this kind of project. Now, what they are going to see, probably the athletes coming, they must have heard about Nigeria in a wrong or in a bad light. But when they come here, they are going to see a terrain that is like theirs, a terrain like anywhere in Europe. I mean, if you look at the Kokuruku Hill coming from Jetu, for instance, you see the beauty of nature. So they are going to see that, and with all the curves in the hills, you are going to see all that. And these are the road is world class, so you are going to see that. So when you go back, this is the hinterland of Nigeria. The impression you are going to have in the hinterland, okay, maybe they never had the opportunity of going to another rural area. So they'll think every rural setting in Nigeria is like what they're going to see in Okpekpe and Abana. So I think that is very, very good.
In terms of proposition, Malta Guinness is all about goodness, energy, and vitality. And even more so, the low sugar variant of our Malta Guinness brand actually supports active, healthy living. And that's why we decided to join the organizers of Okpekpe Road Race. We partnered with them just to bring that program to life, because to a large extent, our brand is all about supporting and activating and inspiring people to live a healthy, active life. And we just had to support that race. It's the first in the country, and it was very successful.
And the technical demands of organizing the race was placed on the broad shoulders of two-time Olympic captain of Nigeria and African long jump record holder, Yusuf Ali.
I think Okpekpe road race to me was one of the best ever road planned in this country. It was well planned. It was not a cash program to say event. The organizers knew what they wanted, and we planned it with them. And technically, people that know how or knows what matters about road race were involved. And I think the first thing, which is the major aspect in road race, is taking the route and also measuring the route. Once the route was certified by the IWF measurer in this country, I think we started working. And we went and marked where the water station will be, the fuel stations and everything, and the starting point, which is the key. And also, one of the factors that makes road race is the finish point. We try to have about 100 meters clear view where they will finish a race, and we had that one in Okpekpe. The terrain in Okpekpe is fantastic. It's like going in Monaco or in Italy.
With over $100,000 in prize monies available to different categories of winners, little wonder the Okpekpe road race attracted leading road runners from specialist countries like Kenya, Ethiopia, Uganda, Eritrea, and others, competing with hundreds of Nigerian hopefuls. The VIP race preceded the professional race. Governor Shiomale was quick off the line at the sound of the gun, but the minister and other dignitaries ready to provide stiff competition. The race is on. A little while later, with the VIP race about a kilometer ahead, the professionals took to the starting line, with everyone's focus on the elite athletes in front. One of the favorites in the men's category was number 42 Moses Masai, the 27-year-old from Kenya, who boasted a personal best of 27 minutes 19 seconds over 10 kilometers. 23-year-old Ugandan Timothy Troitish, the number 48, and a host of Ethiopians as well as Eritreans were the other top shots, eyeing the $25,000 winners prize money for men. The women's category also boasts a loaded list of talents, among them 28-year-old Kenyan Georgina Rono, whose personal best of 31 minutes and 24 seconds in the distance makes her one to watch. The race got off to an energetic start, but it was always a matter of time before the wheat is separated from the chaff. Masai, Troitish, and Ethiopia's Aberechena Lema were among the front runners among the men, with hundreds of hopefuls not far behind. The Ethiopian cast of Sophia Shemu, Deko Zemzem Ahmed, and Gormo Watiku Ayanu were coasting side by side down the valley, just behind the women's leader Georgina Rono, the number 40, as the race entered kilometer 2. And a host of Nigerians were still in the race 4 kilometers on. But by then, the humid conditions had begun to take its toll on body and mind. Some distance had started to separate the leading pack and the also-rans. By the way, Governor Oshiomhole was living up to his promise to not only take part in the race, but also to finish it. Running or walking, the goal is to reach the end. It was also obvious that quite a lot of Nigerian ladies were in the race to win. At 6 kilometers on, National Sports Festival revelation Aminat Olowora, Deborah Pam, and Elizabeth Nuhu were not far behind the leaders from East Africa. As the 10-kilometer race got to the dusty hills of Okpekpe, with the finish just a couple of kilometers away, it became crystal clear from pushback the men's winner would emerge. Masai, Troitish, and Yusuf Bitwat were the front runners with less than a kilometer to run. However, in no time, a better finishing strategy and a lot more energy in reserve separated Masai from his rivals as the man from Eldoret, Kenya, breasted the tape on 29 minutes 39 seconds. Troitish was second and Bitwat came third, just seconds behind the winner after a grueling ascent and descent of Okpekpe hills and valleys to become $25,000 richer. Masai said his training regime, which included climbing hills in Kenya, helped him to cope with the Okpekpe terrain.
You know, the last 3 kilometers is the hill, and I was training in the hill in Kenya, so it was advantage to me because I used to train in Kenya, where we have a lot of hills in Kenya. I know Ethiopian will be bringing a lot of challenge to us, but I know I was strong. I trained well in Kenya.
The first Nigerian to cross the finish line was Ismail Asajo, who returned 31 minutes 6 seconds to place 7th, followed in 8th by Adamu Shehu Muazu.
I came last week. I joined Nigeria team for Afuze. I joined them last week, but I do normally train with them only 1 week. If they camp me, I go outside. I'm sure I will beat Kenya.
Kenya's Georgina Rono won the women's category in a time of 33 minutes and 1 second, ahead of Ethiopia's Deko Zemzem Ahmed and Sophia Shemsu. The first Nigerian woman to finish was 18-year-old Deborah Pam, who clocked 37 minutes 34 seconds. Governor Oshiomhole, who fulfilled his vow to finish the race, was delighted he made history and brought joy to the faces of the people of Okpekpe and surrounding towns.
In every race, some people will come first, some will come last. But the important thing is that it will be in my CV that I did the 10 kilometers. Even though I spent about 90 minutes. Some did it in 30 minutes, some did it in 45 minutes. But I'm glad that God gave one the strength to do it. I believe, for example, these Ethiopians, the Kenyans that have come, they will go back home to tell their people that outside Abuja, in a small hamlet, that there are good roads in Nigeria. And I think this is good for our country. And I'm also happy that the minister is here. And it shows that all of us, at various levels of government, we are united in a common appreciation that we must deliver the best for our rural people. And ministers are coming here, this village are seeing the minister, they are happy. Because if the road wasn't here, that would be impossible. And you can see the people are people with smile. Today is like a holiday, they are all happy and so on. So I'm excited.
Prizes were handed out to podium finishers to wrap up a thrilling event that went far beyond the confines of sports to uplift the fortunes of a predominantly rural setting and uniting Africans.
If we must develop sport in Nigeria, we must connect with the rural areas because that's where we have the raw talents, and it will, to a large extent, even help the government to get rid of crime because people begin to look at, something 1 year in advance. The people from the local community will be drawn and trained. In doing that, that means that athletics federations begin to have enough reservoir of technical officials. If we don't do this event, nobody will do it. We have done football events, and we know what FIFA come to do, what I have come to do, so that's what we are doing. So it's also, again, to challenge, our various state governments, even the federal government, that provision of infrastructure should not be left for the cities alone. That if you create, enabling infrastructure in the villages and hamlets, surely people will go there.
It did not come as a surprise that East Africans dominated the top positions, but the experience gained by Nigerians who competed in the race forms an invaluable part of the country's desire to challenge established countries for long-distance honors in the medium and short term.
The purpose of Okpekpe is to get back to them. If you look at Warri, surprisingly, Nigeria came third ahead of the Kenyans in the 800 meters. Yes. So we are trying to get into their areas too. So coming to do a road race in Okpekpe is just to